Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Nur Vadilah. Number ID student is 0N59 from the class of agribusiness. Here I will explain about tax and tax law. At the first, the elements attached to the meaning of tax are mandatory contributions or obligations to the state. Obligations that can be enforced and if not fulfilled will be subject to sanctions. Collected based on law, what for object and by whom for subject, and the procedure for determining or calculating the amount and procedures. And last, collected by and used for state purpose. So, taxes for the state are strategic revenues to finance state expenditures as well as social cooperation to jointly shoulder state financing. Next is tax function. Taxes have several functions, including 1. Budgetary function is a function of state revenue in the framework of financing state expenditures set forth in the APBN and APBD. 2. Regular function is an instrument to achieve certain goals in the economic, social, and cultural fields. 3. The function of democracy. Society demands a balance between obligations as taxpayers with the right to get good service from the government. The demand for good service from the government will increase in the future as a direct consequence of the demand of the tax-paying society and awareness of their rights as citizens. And 4. Redistribution function. Besides the distribution of income, this occurs with of enactment of progressive rates using large taxes for people with large incomes. On the other hand, imposing less tax or not at all for income below taxable income. Next, kinds of taxes are 1. Income tax. Income tax is a tax imposed on a person or entity tax subject on income received or earned in tax year. Tax subject of income tax are individuals or entities that are obligated to pay taxes based on his abilities and conditions. In Article 2, the tax subject is an individual or natural person and an inheritance that has not been divided as a unity. And tax object of income tax, namely income or additional economic capacity obtained by the taxpayer. Examples are wage, allowances, operating profits, and premium interest. And 2. Value-added tax or VAT. VAT is a levy charged for sale and purchase transactions of goods and services performed by the mandatory personal tax or corporate taxpayer who has become a taxable entrepreneur. The tax subject of VAT is a taxable entrepreneur, the term used for a party who is obliged to VAT is called a taxable entrepreneur. And tax objects subject to value-added tax are imposed on import of taxable goods, export of tangible taxable goods by taxable entrepreneurs, delivery of taxable service within the customs area by entrepreneurs, and utilization of taxable service from outside the customs area within the custom area. Next, land and building tax. Land and building tax is a tax that is collected on land and building because there is a profit and or a better socio-economic position for a person or entity that has a right on it or obtains benefits from it. legally own the following: 1. Have rights to the earth. 2. Get benefits for the earth. 3. Own buildings. 4. Mastering the buildings. And 5. Get benefits for the building. Land and building tax objects, for example, toll roads, swimming pools, hotels, factories, water and gas. Next, BPHTB. BPHTB itself is a levy on the acquisition of rights to land and or buildings. This levy is borne by the buyer and is almost similar to income tax for the seller, so that the seller and the buyer both have the responsibility to pay taxes. The legal basis is Article 4 of Law Number 20 of 2000. The subject of BPHTB is an individual or entity obtaining rights to land and or buildings. The tax objects which are subject to BPHT are transfer or right to sell and purchase, exchange, grant, will grant, income in a company or other legal entity, expiration of right that result in a transfer, and appointment of a buyer in an acquisition, and granting of new rights, namely property rights, rights to cultivate, rights to build, rights to use, ownership, rights to apartment units, rights to management. Next, tax association with business. For business people, tax is a strategic aspect that needs to be considered in business planning. This is because besides having a financial dimension, liquidity, profitability, every business transaction needs to be scrutinized whether it has tax implications or not, whether it is PPH, PPN, PPNBM, and PPHTB. Likewise, with documents relating to transactions. The next is case study. Analysis of tax calculation and reporting on 3 kg LPG redemption from Pertamina at PT Berkacabes. PT Berkacabes is located in Picuan Baru Village, Motoling District, South Minahasa Regency. PT Berkacabes was previously known as Udi Sandra, is an agent or distributor of fuel oil, in particular kerosene. However, since the existence of a government program for the transfer of fuel oil to fuel gas, then since May 2012, Ude Sandra switched to become a distributor of LPG gas, especially 3 kg LPG, and changed its name to PT Berkacabes since 2013. The area for distribution of 3 kg LPG by PT Berkacabes is located in the South Minahasa area, including Kumalembuai Village, Tukin Village, Ranan Village, Motoling Village, Wanga Village, Ranoyapu Village, Popo Village, etc. The administrative office that manages the tax obligation of PT Berkacabes is located in the city of Manado Presley on Jalan Samratulangi 29, number 1, Tanjung Batu Village, neighborhood 4. Based on the result of the discussion, then 1. The mechanism for calculating and depositing PPH Article 22 owned by PT Berkacabes during the period of May until December 2012 is in accordance with the provisions of PMK number 224 of 2012. PT Berkacabes pay income tax Article 22 payable at the time of deposit to the perception bank, namely 1 day before the warrant goods issuance delivery order is redeemed. 2. In the case of PPH Article 22 reporting, because it is final, the tax liability for 2012 is considered paid or finished, but PT PERPAJAKAN it still has the obligations to report income tax Article 22 inside SPT corporate income tax according to the amount of tax collected by Pertamina, which is adjusted to evidence of collections which exists. And three, for the calculation and payment of VAT, PT PERPAJAKAN has paid according to the amount of tax payable, which is paid at the time of deposit to the perception bank. Okay, that's all I can say. Thank you for your attention. My all those we have shared be beneficial for all of us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.